Hello, welcome. I am Ren Parnell, I'm a technical designer at UX is Fine, and today we're going to be building a Soliton Radar. So let's go to our scene here, take a look at this video. This menu is pretty cool too. I'd love to maybe make this menu. Need to rearrange my timer as well. So in the top right you have this element that draws the lines of the geometry, and it also draws pips for all of the entities, so player in blue, enemies in red. It also has these view cones that show up, and so it'd be cool to have those view cones displayed on this. So in this video we're not really seeing the actual effect. This person seems to be making one themselves. So you can see here in this video all the different view cones, and you can see the outlines as well. It's a different on every platform, I guess, that the game came out on, every version of the game. But let's get started. I'm going to set up my counter to give us 2 hours to jump into this. Okay, 2 hours on the clock. So let's go. New content, new folder. Episode_09. Let's get a core folder. Let's file save current level as level 09. Okay. So we're going to need, what are we going to need? Going to need all the basics as usual. So GM09, PC09, HUD09, create those. I'm going to jump in here and set that up. Apply that to our world settings here. Now when I press play I should get nothing. Cool. Okay, well we're going to need some geometry to start with, so let's create some basic cubes. Make sure these are aligned with the world. Let's that down. Let's get some, we got some 10 unit snapping, so let's just move these around. Increase the snapping. Scale snapping we can probably increase as well. Just increase it to 1, so we're increasing at 1 meter at a time. Let's give ourselves some kind of map border. Could actually just do this, be fine. We don't have a skylight in this scene by the looks. You see how this is super dark? So we do have a skylight here. It doesn't seem to be affecting the world. It's a bit strange. we're going to do is go in here and delete these lights, and then in Windows there's a environment light mixer, and you can just create your skylight, your atmospherics, your height fog, and you get a scene. Still got these really harsh black shadows happening. Put all of these light effects into a folder. Oh, there's already a folder. Okay. Put all of these cubes in here as well. Cool. Alright, so I don't know why we've got this epic black shadow though, so I do want to debug into that. Let's just take a look. Skylight not affecting lumen scene. Here it's a real-time capture. I just want a specific cube map. See, like this does nothing. This does nothing. These values are doing anything for us. If I go to Window, World Settings, just check Force, no pre-computed lighting, and then build lighting only. Not done anything for us. Very bizarre. It's just like jet black, right? So something's going on. See? The cube map is assigned, which it is. Could be this sphere. Yeah. But that actually wasn't in my list of suggestions, but I put a sphere around the map with two-sided, and so that was affecting the lighting. Okay, cool. So we have we have a scene that we can actually see. So that's cool. Let's just carry on. So what we want is to basically render scene to a texture, and then do your typical sort of post-processing outline shader on it. We do want to render, I think, in orthographic as well. Let's create some more shapes. It's got something interesting to render, I guess. I'll do. Okay, and so first let's just create a post process. So new folder material. I should actually set up my my to-do list as well. So let's create a new new list. We'll just call this MGS Soliton. Print this down and we'll add some tasks. So set up scene. We did that. Let's do set up post process. Then render texture. And then UMG. And then we'll do player enemy or player marker, we'll just say. Player marker. Camera frustrums, so or view frust. We'll call it view frustrums because it could be anyone's view. So okay, so we'll start with the post process here. All right. So for the post process, let's just come in material. So we'll go pp underscore outline shader. Turn this into a post process. So here we just have a named reroute. Call this just call it pp post process. Call it something better. Post. All right. That just means I can leave that over there. Maybe there'll be some additions and multiplications that we'll do in the future, but for now we'll just stick with that. Let's bring this microphone a little bit closer to my face because apparently it's off cam, or not off cam, but like off to the side. Okay, so one of the quickest ways to get an outline post-process shader is to jump over to a website called blueprintue.com. This is the website. You can search in here for an outline post process. And so here we've just got one in. We've got an interact one here. We've got this one. So this one's doing the pixel shift method, which is fine. We can leave that open in case we don't find a different one. What I could do is I could use GPT and we could create a HLSL in UE5 that creates an outline process, outline post process using scene texture, depth. I want to output depth in the R channel and outlines in the RG channel. Want variables for outline thickness and any other helpful variables. So here's so you could use this website. You could do that, or you could try this. I quite like using AI for HLSL because it's a little bit quicker, a little bit more optimized than just writing nodes into a graph and copying it from a video or whatever. You just plug your variables in. Speeds up the time quite a bit. So it just requires scene depth. It requires this sampler state. Register S0. I don't know what that is. We could go back to Blueprint UE and type in HLSL outline. Which doesn't have one. I'm gonna copy this. Sampler state is not a property of UE5 material shaders. I can supply the scene texture depth or scene depth node, for example. Because yeah, like sampler state just isn't. Look, sampler. You get some samplers, but we need like scene texture. Oh, my camera's wobbling quite a bit. Might have to set that up on a gizmo or something. So we have this. We can get scene depth from here, and maybe hopefully do some stuff with it. We'll try this. List the inputs at the top in -- comments. Try this. So custom, and then it says it's got some scene UVs, usually from viewport UVs. Mean position viewport UV. Cool. Okay. Just checking that we actually have those properties. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we've got 4. Okay. So we got the UV, the outline, thickness, and depth sensitivity. Let's just go thickness and depth sensitivity. 0.11, I guess. I don't know what it's gonna need for this. We'll take this, plug this into our post, get some errors. Declared identifier scene texture lookup. Okay. Didn't tell me about that. No, that's the wrong one. This one. I mean, I know I need to define it, but I want it to know it did it wrong. I know what it did wrong. Okay. No. Tried to just give me something completely different, but I'm going to take this and actually do it as an input. It's just doing these offsets, but it doesn't seem to be giving us what we want. I'm going to do a quick Google again. HLSL outline shader, UE5. I'm going to copy this person's code just to give the AI some context. This is from Tom Lumen. If you've not seen Tom Lumen before, he has a pretty cool website. It does a lot of technical shading, but technical art. So here we have this outline custom node. What I want to do is say, here the, I guess, script is reading directly from texture 2D sample. We probably don't need custom depth, just scene depth, I think it's called. Just double check. Yeah, scene depth. Okay, that was annoying. It just doesn't listen. I mean, I'm curious what it's given us here, but it's got radial steps, textile sizes, all these kinds of things. I don't want any of this. I just want whatever I said at the very beginning. HLSL notifies that it creates an outline based on depth. I want it to output. Well, we don't really need to output all the depth, but I can do that myself. I want it to output the lines. So that I can draw the lines as I desire. I want variables for outline thickness and any other helpful. I just want variables for outline thickness. Let's just go with that. Use that thing that we found. So it should be use a local variable texture 2D sample, and then we'll do this custom depth texture. Maybe it's like scene depth texture. What's the sampler that it mentions? It's UV, viewport UV. I presume it was viewport UV. I can just double check here. It says he's just using the texture coordinates. Find that interesting. Does that work? UE5, how to reference scene depth for post process in a HLSL custom node. There's a Sobel edge detection post process. Oh look, filter using a HLSL. Look at that. Handy. Render bucket. Yeah. So I've seen this guy before as well.
Sobel edge detection filter for post processing.
But what I'm interested in is how he gets the inputs. Very difficult to see what he's writing. Scene texture lookup. Interesting. Okay. U5 custom nodes. Let's have a look. U5 custom. Hey Fetch, how you doing? We're doing a radar today based on MGS Solid. So, just training GPT on how to do texture sampling. U5 custom nodes implicitly add inputs via an array that I control. I want to define scene texture, which is later used as a lookup. What we can do is maybe take a look at this. Whoops. Might be better to actually take this screenshot. So he's going to paste that in there. It's interesting. Get scene texture UV parameters. Interesting. Let me jump it back over to GPT for 1 second. Be like, here is an example of servo edge detection. And then another thing that happens in there is he has this custom, he has UV defined. I'm just going to double check. It does have UV there. Yeah. New 5 custom nodes implicitly add inputs via an array that I control. I want to define scene texture, which is later used as a lookup, or which is used as a lookup. UV, which I will provide. I'd prefer it to just do it itself. Don't know why he does it custom in that way. Maybe there's a reason later. So he has that return get scene texture UV parameters. Get scene texture UV parameters. Let's see how it does with that. Okay, so we've got a couple of things. We've got scene texture. We have UV. And outline thickness. Thickness into here, res. View size UV. I mean, he just had a custom node where it was just like return scene texture UV, get scene texture UV. I think it was get scene texture UV parameters. That he just plugged in to the UV. Although I wonder if I can just use viewport UV for that. Scene texture, scene depth. See what it says about this. I literally gave him this. ChatGPT is a him in this scenario. Yeah, it's just a kernel. It's just a kernel. UV res outline thickness. Okay, now it's just going to try and do it itself. So all I need to do anyway is create a material instance for this and a post-process volume in our level. Set this to unbounded, or unbound. Go to our materials. Add an asset reference for the instance that we just made. Which I expected to just immediately work, but I guess I'm wrong. There we go. So now in here, we've got this thickness variable. Should just be able to increase it, which ironically does nothing. Okay, so what we might do is stop trying to get GPT to do it for us, and we'll just use a Blueprint UE shader. So that failed. Sometimes we fail, as long as we move on. So we're back here, go in post-process edge detection. I guess people will just always call it outline. Let's just open a couple of these, see what kind of options we have. It's got stencils, don't care about that. Actually, could do some stencil stuff so that we could color things differently, but he's creating a couple of colors in his graph. It is kind of cool. I'm just going to output the... Yeah, I'm going to do that differently. I'm going to use a lookup curve for the color based on the custom depth ID. So from 0 to 256, we've got 256 colors that we could use. So it's like occluded materials. We're just going to go and render everything, I think. So let's just go look at a different one, see if it's simpler. This looks somewhat simple. It might not be great. It's got 2 axes, so it might not be great. Got our level here. It is doing an if based off of custom depth though, again. This is just... Huh. Yeah, no, that was a bad one. Again, that was a stencil-based one. Okay, so that wasn't great. Not that one. One is actually one of the best so far. We can try this this complex one. Skip that. I've got a message on my phone. Sure. Go here. Get rid of this, which did not work. Okay. So we should... Do we still have a post-process in here? Strange it doesn't have outline. Yeah, it doesn't have an outline variable in there. Crashing quite repeatedly today. It's the third crash. I'm guessing we're going to need to make a process again. This time I'm going to be smart and I'm going to save. Okay. Just going to look at this over here, look at the level. Again, it's using custom depth. Why are they always using custom depth? Getting anything from our post process. It is unbound. Just getting no. There is no such outline on any of this, despite it showing in here. Apparently it's also got some sort of time attached to it, which I'm going to immediately get rid of. Don't want this. Strange. Wonder why. Works in... it's not doing interior edges. That's our problem. So yeah, we get one on the outside of this asset, but we don't get anything on the interior assets. That's annoying. Yeah. Material function. Depth using fraction offset. That kind of makes good sense to me. Just like using inbuilt functions. Cooking. Okay, we've got an outline. Increase the intensity. Can I do that? Doesn't increase the scale at all. Can change the color. Oops. If I, however, change the color to black, it stops rendering. Why is that? Okay, well anyway, you can see how this is going to get us close to where we want to be for our outline post-process, for our render texture for our Soliton Radar, right? So you hit play here and sort of move around. You get this, you get the idea. So the whole idea there was just to get an outline. I have them banked up in like my library of assets, but I wanted to do it from scratch here just to show the process of like finding a good one. So this I'm quite happy with. That's cool. Okie dokie. So from here, what I want to do is capture this. So we do have a post process now. From here, I want to render this onto a camera that is going to render for us. So I don't need this post process here. We will create a new renderer blueprint. May as well just call it what it is, which is Soliton. Alright. So we get a render texture or scene capture component. Just face this down. It's going to be orthographic because we want it to be solid. Okay, and the ortho width here is just what it is for now. We'll configure that afterwards, but the main thing is that we have the material. So this camera is rendering the what we were looking at basically. I do want to have a actual character. I'm just going to see what third-person character does here. Nothing wonderful. I wonder why that is. There we go. Whoa! Yeah. Not really what I wanted. So I'm just going to copy this over to our. Let's put it in core. It's fine. Basic. I'm just going to delete some stuff off this character. Widget middle top obscure cam. Yeah, we don't need any of that. We've got the prototype of obscure. We don't need that. In the event graph, we've got an obscure input component, so we don't need that. Let's just go character basic. Cool. Nothing happens when we click, and we're just going to draw a radar to the top right. So the reason I wanted that is because now I can do get character. Just promote that to a variable. Whoops. We're just going to follow this character wherever the character moves. So set actor location. Set actor location. No. Set actor location. Put a validator in here so we don't get errors when we're moving around. Or if we're moving around. Okay. The other thing is I need to add at least some Z. Otherwise it'll clip, because orthographic still does clip. And what I'll do as well is make this not hidden. Change this, nice. Yeah, it is visible. I don't think so. I'm going to add a billboard to this, and I'll make it visible and it won't be hidden. Yeah, so it's above us, move around, that's cool. Right, so for this renderer, we want to choose how it's going to render. In here what we can do is create a texture render target. So we'll do render to texture underscore, and we just want an 8-bit depth. So we can just do, I believe it's just R8. We just want the one channel, and 256 is fine. This is about how big it will be in the corner of the map, right? So in this render texture Soliton Radar, we're going to go to the 8-bit channel. We're going to render just the scene depth, because, well, we don't need anything else, right? So it should be the case when I hit play. I'm just going to try and attempt to get my screen. Because I've got common UI enabled, I can't actually use my mouse to move anything, so we're going to use the keyboard. Okay. I still can't see my mouse because I'm in Unreal Engine. That's just done. Right, so we've got that R to T 8-bit, and if I move around, oh, damn, yeah, I like how it's rendering that. Maybe it's hard to see the depth because we are not doing anything with it, basically. So what I want to do is take this and type material. Or actually what we can do is we can actually just start making the UI. Let's just try and make the UI quickly. So UI, create a new widget. Widget underscore radar. And we'll just go desired size. It's an image. It's, in this case, 256 by 256. It is going to be, or it will have a MUI radar texture that comes from that renderer. It's this one. And then what we should have, because we applied the material here, at least we'll be able to see exactly what's going on. So let's put this as user interface, just put this into final color. Let's go core, HUD, create widget, radar, add to viewport. It's going to go at let's see how that looks. Oh, I didn't set. I need to set the alignment. So set the anchors in this case to the top right of the viewport, which is 1, 0, 1. Lost my mouse again. set alignment to 1, 0. Oh my god, can't work without my mouse here. Okay, so we got this thing in the top right. That's cool. That'll do us for now. In fact, what we could do is instead of that, we'll just do it straight in here. This, I'm not too worried about this. So usually you wouldn't do this. You'd have a radar and it would be oriented on an actual screen. But what we're going to do is we're just going to align it to the top right. This is just a quick hacky way of doing it. 50. There we go. And this needs to have the material that we created. We'll drop that on there. So it is just rendering red. So it might be the case that this isn't rendering on tick. It does render on movement. It overwrites. It does the scene depth in the R channel. I mean, we could do LDR. So now we get this. Let's just go with that. Okay, cool. So we're a part of the way there. Now we would just want to use, this is just an R channel, right? So we can lerp this now using this, and we can have some colors. So we can say outline color. And we could also create BG color. Another thing that we could possibly do is we might be able to get, yeah, you see scene depth in the alpha channel there. So I'm going to take that as well, hopefully. Let's just render that alpha channel and see if it actually renders anything. Let's try adding a multiplier to it. And a power. I'm just going to throw some variables in here quickly to test if this is doing anything for us. So do that, open up the, well, we need to create an instance, I guess, so that we can actually play with the variables and then throw that on here. So that's now our instance. Apparently I didn't hook that up correctly. So I don't think it will work because we set our render texture to not to just this R8, right? So I think we're going to need RGB8. Definitely not rendering anything in the channel that we wanted. Worried that we're just going to need to keep increasing the complexity of this until we get what we're actually looking for. Because I literally just want scene depth. There's no data in there. There's like literally no information in that scene depth. So let's not worry about the scene depth portion. Let's just go back to doing our nice 8-bit render on our LDR here. this would have made sense to me. But I don't think it actually gave us anything. Maybe it's because it's orthographic, possibly. Like it can't get depth in some way. Yeah, no. Okay, well, gonna ignore it. Gonna move on. So let's just get at least something that does something cool. Let's put this in here. Let's get our outline color. Let's go to our radar. Make sure that we'll just do LDR. Press play. And it's the wrong way around. We'll do that. We also probably don't want perspective. Definitely want the orthographic in there. So we've got a start of our radar. Let's get some probably not render my character, or any character for that matter. And so we could use scene depth for that particular use case. Hey Armin, how you doing? Welcome. Don't know how long since I last checked chat. 6 minutes ago. Yeah, how you doing, Armin? Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, we're just making a Metal Gear Solid Radar. One of the old greats. So. Looking over on my other screen for a second. Yeah, I think what I want to do is have this be a translucent material as well. It's down here. Ugh. Yuck. Just keep going. Just keep going. Enjoying the stream, yeah, it's like ASMR, right? It's like a little bit of ASMR in the background. A little bit of drum and bass. Don't know if the drum and bass comes through. That's cool. I'm just going to put... I mean, I don't even need to put opacity in here. I'm going to control it through the widget. So let's just go here and control the color here. Do a little bit of fade. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? You are now a translucent material. Radar. Does kind of work. I guess what I would like to do is lerp this alpha as well. So I'll take the alpha values from these and I'll plug that in. I can control it through the material. So here, come in and we could say, well, we do want opaque lines, but we don't really want an opaque background. isn't working as well as I would have hoped. Got some aliasing going on, and that's just because it's like a 256 texture, I guess. Yeah, there's something not great about that approach. It's just leaving an artifact around all the green lines. It's like a black line around everything. Let's take a look at why. I mean, we could just... No, I don't know why it would do that. It's a pretty simple shader. Not really doing anything crazy. Guess I could do this. There we go. No. Made it worse. What I'm gonna do is stick a clamp in here. I guess you could just... You told me you could just saturate this. I don't know if that's exactly how that works. Yeah, this is a bit better. Is it because we're not at full screen? It is not because we're at full screen. That works. Okay. We'll leave that there. Okay, let's hide our character at least. So in order to do that, I'm going to hide it during the post-process phase. So we're going to ideally stencil that guy out. Ideally. This is a bit mask. I wonder what he's dividing it by. 255. Pencil mask. Let's just see what that does. Renders nothing. So what I want to do, I think, is take the 1 minus. So it's like render everything except things with the stencil layer on. And then if I press play now, I should still see my character. Cool. And then if I put a stencil on my character, maybe he'll disappear. I'm going to make sure that in my project settings I actually have this set up to do stencil. Yeah, this is enabled with stencil. Cool. Maybe this needs to be 255. Okay. It's nothing. What's the math here? Take the custom stencil, which is a value like 255, divide by 255, 1 mask. Bit mask 2 to 1. Provides a 1-bit mask between 0 and 255. Well, that's not ideal. Where's my music gone? Music, come back. Don't leave me. There we go. Happy days. Okay. So, I'm going to go and look for a different stencil on this Blueprint UE website. Just save me time again. I did this on a stream recently and I just can't be asked to do it again. Where's your stencil? Here we go. Check if the stencil ID matches 1 or no. Okay, cool. Let's try this instead. This is going to be our stencil mask. We'll straight up multiply our output of our outline by it, and it will essentially just say if there is a stencil, mask it. So we'll take custom stencil, and if it is more than or equal to 1, then we don't want it. Whatever that comment is about Simone. Oh my god. Another crash. It's okay. This is the Unreal way. This is the Unreal way. And we're back. And let's see how much we lost in this particular one. Firstly, let's go to our outline shader. So I have our stencil, so that's cool. We can get rid of all that because we don't want it. Steal this little bit here. Apparently deleting a comment is not allowed. Stop deleting comments. We got our render texture, we got our UMG. We want to go for our player marker next. If anyone's wondering where those ticks came from, it's me ticking things on my task list. So there you have it. Let's go back here, paste this. This time we're just going to leave the comment. I like this comment. Oh, no, it doesn't like that at all. Okay. That's fourth crash in a row. Let's see if our luck's on our side this time. Boom, boom, boom. No? Okay. I don't want this comment. Go away. Whatever is up with that comment, it's evil. I'm gonna get rid of this though, because that's allowed. And then I'm gonna put this over here. Yeah, and so just double checking this logic again. If there is a stencil, then it is 0, and if it is oh no, if the stencil value is more than or equal, and otherwise it's 0. Oh. What? You're telling me the default stencil value of everything is 1? So let's just turn this to 2 then. What? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, got a 1 minus in there. It's not good. Okay, so this can be 1. I shouldn't be on that render anymore. My character should not be on that render anymore. Go here, render. Depth. Okay, I'm getting annoyed that my character is still rendering to that thing. Doesn't make any sense. I guess I am just masking it out. I wonder if I could... Sampling the scene depth here. Oh, I tell you what I could do. I could not render him to the depth channel, and then he just won't get picked up at all. I don't want to render my character. But I think what's happening is because it's shifting all the pixels one up, left, down and right before, like here in this part, and then it's just minusing essentially the mask of the inside of the stencil. So I'd actually need to apply all of this offset. Gosh darn. Okay. Got these blur sample offsets. Depth using pixel offset. And then it adds them all together. I wonder if I can minus over here somewhere. Yeah, we're not actually using this coloring. We don't want this. Okay, so I need to outputting a channel. There we go. And then I just need to we're sampling and offsetting in the 4 directions, and then removing only the center of the character afterwards, which is no good. So it takes this literally just creates a kernel, and then this is sampling. Would you look at this? So it's this function here where I would use custom depth. If I do use custom depth, then it's only going to render the structures. I guess I could do it that way. Let's create a bool here. We could create a bool param. Yeah, whatever. Use custom depth, yes. Make it true. Okay. So now we've got it the other way around, which is good, because what we could do is we could at least maybe copy this sample depth to our own design. Sample depth inverted. And then so for this, where's that boolean? There. Okay. So this is the true false switch here, scene depth. Right, so it's using scene depth or custom depth. And because nothing else renders to custom depth, we're not allowed to see it. So what we could do, let's get a named reroute here and just call this mask. Take that mask, and essentially anything that comes out just takes away the mask. As it comes out. Only transparent or post-processed materials can read from scene depth. This is a material function, sir. What appears to be the problem here? And so I just need to replace all of these with my one. That didn't work. Is it because this isn't compiling? But this one also says it can only read from there. Scene texture expressions cannot be used in opaque materials. Come on. Translucent. Interesting. It's still not removing it. Maybe it's because we're... It's like maybe it's -1 now in the depth. So there is actually a depth to it. Okay. Just depth using, yeah, well, no, we don't want to saturate it, that's for sure. Can I lerp using this mask? And we'll just go 0 or this. Don't subtract. Okay, we got nothing. So we're doing it the wrong way around as usual. Nope, still got our character. My gosh. My gosh. It's just stencil right now. -1. What if we don't render in the depth? What if we don't render in the depth pass at all? Why can't I turn that off? Can't turn that off apparently. And also cannot mask based on our this is using, yeah, okay, then it gets the depth. Okay, now I'm just curious what happens if I just render the mask. Render the stencil mask, please. What? It's just green. It never even sees the player. That's probably because I turned this off. Okay, so we are rendering our player in there. Yep. It's changing color when I look around because it's transparent. Okay. What's so bizarre? How does that not work? We definitely have a mask of our character. The alpha is 0. And the first input is used. The alpha is 0. Where the character is. And it's 1 everywhere else. Is that not the same? Oh, it's not. Funny. Okay, I'll find it. I copied and pasted the wrong bit of the graph, which is my own fault. Wait, so I can get only my character, or I can get everything. I can go here like this, and now I'll render just my dude. But I can't do the inverted version of that. Yeah, I can't. I'm not allowed to do that. Apparently. I can't just output 0 where the character is. Still likes to. I guess it's because the floor around him is. It's like, oh yeah, there's a difference between what's below. Yeah, goddamn. Because that's how the kernel works, right? It's like it offsets all the pixels and then returns a mask that's the difference between all the distances on the pixels, and all I'm saying is my character is just 0, which means if the depth to the floor is like 100, there's still a difference, and it's still going to come out with an output. My god. We obviously don't want to create a material that yeah, okay, so it's fine. We don't want to create a material that doesn't render this guy in the depth pass, which is one solution, but would look dumb. Let's just go in here, replace this back with the original. We will use custom depth. We have turned it off on our character, and then we're just going to turn it on for all of our cubes. So now we don't have our character, and now we can go about actually rendering our character as a square, which of course in this case is really simple, because it's literally just going to be a blue square in the middle of this asset. Play on that. Now we just have this little dude moving around, so that's cool. So that's our character. Now let's get some enemies drawing onto that. Let's get some enemies drawing onto it. So in order to do that, we need some sort of... Well, firstly, we need some sort of actor. So let's just create a BP enemy, I guess. BP enemy. And we'll give him some kind of mesh. Should be this cone. A couple of those around. Okay, and then I guess I could do this with a component. there's loads of ways you could do this next stage. You could get all the actors with a certain tag and they'll be in their own little bucket already, because Unreal will have sorted that earlier for us. So it's like hashes all of these different properties so that we can search by them quickly. So we could do it by tag. We could have a component that sits on that asset, similar to how we did the compass in the Division episode. So we have a registry and we register a component, and from there we can get its position in the world, and then we can translate that into our radar. We could also just get the actor type, which isn't great. We want to assume that we can put some visual over the map that's a square or a circle or a triangle, you know, or an icon, or I mean we need a cone as well, but it could be on an enemy, it could be anything, so it wants to be a component to start with at least. So let's just create a component. We'll go with, let's go with an actor component this time, BP marker component. And instead of creating a registry this time, we're just going to do it straight on the radar. So get all components or all actors with a tag, and the tag will be marker. And so we'll just promote that to marker actors. The way that this is going to work, in fact we'll have a little bit of a delay here, I suppose. This is a terrible design. So basically what this is going to do is when my HUD begins play, I'm going to find all things that have markers, and I'm never going to look ever again. So if you ever spawn something in the middle of the game, you're just not going to see it on the radar, because you'll never be looking for those again. So what we'll do in our component instead is we'll get the local player's HUD, pass that to 0.9 in this case, and we'll actually grab the widget and tell it that we have something new. So the way that we did this in the Division episode is my preferred method, but it takes longer, and we don't always have all the time. So as a quick prototype, we're just going to do it. We're just going to make it work. So we can get the radar here, and now we can just have a function on here that we register a marker. We would just add this new guy. And what we can do as well on this marker component is on event destroyed, or end play I suppose, switch, and if it was destroyed manually, then we would do this same function, but we would unregister marker. We would just remove this item. So here we register a marker, and here we unregister a marker. And the new item is should just be self. It's an actor. Just a get owner. So whatever this is on. Okay, cool. So that pretty much sorts us out there. Assuming that you have a HUD. Assuming that you have a HUD. And so let's make sure that our enemy has a marker. What we can do on that marker component as well. In fact, we'll change the array here to markers. Sadly, we have two types because I've already made one for the other asset. So we're going to go BP_radar marker. back in our radar. Let's have a look. So radar marker. There we go. Yep. Oh, remove an item. Let's get rid of that. Just plug this in here. And then in our register, same kind of deal. My mouse keeps disappearing, which is super annoying. No, not each one, we're doing add. Okay, so that cleans that up a little. It's a little bit nicer. So now we don't use that, we use self, and the reason for that is so I can store some variables on this marker component now. And it allows us to do things like, what's the texture that this is going to be represented by? For now, we'll just add one variable, it's this the color. Cool. So when we register a marker, we're going to create a new widget, which is also, you know, not a great way of doing this. Wonder if we could. We've got 24 minutes. I've always been interested in doing like a HLSO that can take an array of positions and actually just draw those dots straight onto the texture. I don't know how you would set an array. Let's find out. Let's find out what we can do. Let's get a new chat. Is there a way in UE5 to pass an array? Pass an array. Or I could call it like parse an array. Parse an array of, I guess, how would I feed it the array? I would say, here's an XY, an array of XY coordinates to draw a square, or any icon really, square, at a position on an image. Actually, we could do an array of 0 to 1 XY coordinates to draw a square at a position on it, to draw a square at a position on an image for each entry. Yes. I mean, I know I can do it for 1, but can I do it for like 20? Is there a way in UE to parse an array of so that I can provide 5 entries, for example? I know I can do 1. It's not the hard part. This has just told me to create a widget for every marker, which is exactly what I'm trying to avoid. Oh, you can do the onPaint function. Not a bad call. Make box. Let's do that. Okay, so I've actually done this before in a heat map, like a trail, like draw the trail of a character, and I just feed it the array of positions. So all we do is we get the each on here, get the owner, get the actor location, we get the essentially the distance. You want the distance? No, we kind of want the actual vector which we can derive the distance from. Get character, actor location. So distance just gives you a float, but just minusing one vector from the other gives you the direction and the distance. So we're going to go through each of these during the paint pass. We do have color, which is cool. And so draw box context, it's just an in context. The position we will determine, we'll say the units is just like 10 by 10. The brush, 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 that's not good. Do I need to make a brush? Slate brush? Is that what you want? No? New slate brush. Yeah, you do want a slate brush. Cool. Okay. What is it? It's a white square. Wait, does it not have a color? No, it does have a color. I knew it had a color. Draw box. Now we just need to determine the position. So, based on our renderer, we have the scene capture that does an ortho width of, say, 1500 units. So we can take that value. Let's just do a return here. Okay, so we essentially just want to map this range. Oh, we can't do that. Can't do that, boss. Go break it, then we map it. This is a little bit expensive. We could just multiply these, but I'm just going to map it for simplicity. We have an X and Y around our player in the range of negative 750 to 750, because that's basically where they are, right? Negatives. Yeah, and it's negative 750 to 750 on the y-axis, so that's fine. The position is just going to be this, and then it's our image size for our actual radar. So let's get this, get cached geometry. We're actually gonna need to replace this with child, and draw this in desired screen space, and actually add this to another widget so that these positions work properly. So just call this widget underscore 09. Whoops. And we'll just add this radar to it, wrap it with an overlay. How long have we got here? 17 minutes? We should be good. Pull that off the screen a little. Okay, let's have a look. Oh yeah, I didn't set up the color, eh? Didn't set up the color, eh? Color, we'll do red. It makes the most appropriate color for an enemy. Shader was good, radar, right, so now that we have this UI widget, this radar is its own element, its cache geometry and local size is just it, which means that we could actually just divide this by a float of 750, and that should just get us, like, even if it's minus, in fact, let me get a calculator. Let's say the guy was minus 750 from us, and we just divide that by 750. We should get -1, right? So we technically don't need that, because all we do is, well, we know this is, can I go vector 3 from this, or can I just pull this into here? No. We know that this image is square, so mapping range is good when you've got like two separate, let's get size. when you've got two separate axes that you're working on that are different, right? Like different width, different height. Let's just break this. It's annoying me that I'm using this in such a weird way. Right, let's see what this results in. It results in what? Not being able to find the radar? Yeah, it makes sense because we changed a few things. Core, HUD, draw, 09. Variable, just 09 UI. Fine. Go find our 09 UI. Make sure our radar is a variable, which it is. Typically what I would do here is in my registry, I would go and grab, once my registry has initialized, I would go and grab all of the existing markers maybe, or I would add a wait in here until this HUD is valid. But for simplicity, I'm just going to add a 1 second delay because I'm evil. Right, okay, cool. So we've got that. Should get a mark down here. This actually also, it doesn't rotate to us, but that's fine because, you know, we're thinking Metal Gear Solid. It's like, one direction. We don't have our markers appearing, so let's make sure that we're drawing something at least. So we're not. So we never get a registry. Let's check that. In our radar marker we get our, oh yeah, what we could do is HUD 9, get radar. Just promote that. I mean, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna multiply store. Even though I am hacking some things, I'm not gonna store the same variable in two different places. I'm just not happy with that. Do this, do this. It's like, I'm not gonna store the parent of the thing I want and then the thing I want. That's like just storing two memory addresses for the same thing. Okay, so firstly, that, well, not firstly, but that's still not working. It's because I put a delay in that I didn't hook up, so that's just wonderful. Okay, so we do add something. Debug mode doesn't work. Debug mode. Hey El Falpo, you just discovered the channel. I think you're the only one who teaches how to make a nice UI. Thank you. I appreciate the faith. I've lost my mouse again. Yeah, some tutorials better than others. I'm just sort of experimenting on this one, but we're having fun, right? So let's go have a look. Are you drawing a red dot? No, you're not. Of course you're not. Okay, so here I just want to know what it's doing for the position. And I want it to be based off, I guess, display name and then key here. So we'll compile that. We get two positions. If I go and stand on top of this, it should just mostly be 0. Yeah, we're not actually seeing it drawn at all. Which makes me wonder if the color is bad. Radar, color. Let's make sure this is 1, red. Compile, go to our enemy, marker. Maybe it's just because it was not opaque. Here we go. Right. So we're getting something draw, just in completely the wrong. I love that it's drawing all the way off screen as well. It does not care about clipping. interesting that it's that far off. Oh, I suppose, interesting, yeah. I shouldn't be mapping the distance in the way that I am mapping it. How long have I got here? I've got 10 minutes. We can do 10 minutes. I'm mapping this incorrectly. Obviously, we kind of could see that that was the case. But what I'm doing here is I'm saying get the distance from me in 750 units and then draw it on my square. But it's not, it would draw it in the bottom left basically if it was a certain orientation from me. Could you please make a tutorial series about making UI in Unreal Engine? An actual tutorial series, yeah. Definitely can. I like doing one-shots because I think there's enough tutorials out there for UI. I like doing these one-shots because it not only does it come out with something cool at the end, people can see the more complex and interesting things, but also I'm not just like regurgitating what content already exists on the internet. Like, but I do appreciate that if people like my method of teaching and talking and the way that I work through it, that there is a demand for it. So what I'm essentially doing at that point is making a course, like a set course, right? On YouTube. Because I've seen a lot of tutorials that do similar to what I'm doing, but as a tutorial. So they're like, you know, I'll put this node here, put that node there. I figured this all out. It took me 10 hours. I'm doing like a challenge stream, I suppose. But because I need to stream, I would come up with a lesson plan and it would basically be live lessons. And it'd be like, okay, so today we're looking at common UI setup for a main menu. And that's what we're going to do. And I'll come across things that I've forgotten or things that I'm not happy with, and I'll go back. And so the lessons will be this big disjointed thing. To do tutorials, I'd have to stop streaming and go and do them, make them, right? Like build them, put the videos up, do a real series, because I wouldn't be comfortable like doing it live, I don't think. Or at least if I did do it live, I'd basically have to do it like a GDC or you know, Unreal Fest kind of like production style talk, where I've already prepared all the resources and I've actually run this tutorial 20 times and I know all the places where it'll fail and I know exactly how long it'll take to go through the content. In order to do that, I would have to obviously create a lesson plan and essentially practice the lesson plan and make sure that I'm not just like winging it, essentially, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just winging it. Which is like the point of this stream is to wing it and like try things out, right? And try and create something of value by the end. With that in mind, I have 6 minutes left, but I do hear you. If I was to do tutorials, I would need to do a series that's properly planned and it will take a bit of time, so it might not be soon. It is one of the things that's on the list of considerations of things to do during streams, but it does take a decent amount of preparation because I don't want it to be the handicap lead the blind, right? I don't want to be there like making people come out with a bad idea of how to do something, because sometimes the stuff that I'm doing on these streams isn't the best way to do something. There's always a better way. If I do a tutorial series, I want it to be something that kind of lasts the test of time, through being an accurate representation of what I do think is the best practice. Like, what I'm doing right here is not the best practice. Well, no, it's not really, but I'm also experimenting with this. Like, I should just draw this straight to the widget. It would be far easier to just draw a square or a triangle or any icon with a cone like directly onto the image. And in fact, we did want a view cone. And so maybe I should just stop doing what I'm doing here. And actually, I could just cut all of this and delete this. And let's go and add a canvas, I guess, canvas panel to this. It's full size. We'll call this canvas panel markers. Create a function, update markers. Grab this. This image is of a specific size. Let's just check what size it is. What image am I doing? Yeah, 256, right? So we're not going to draw a box anymore. I'm going to create a new widget. Just do an enemy widget for now. Just do basic overlay. Just do an image. This will be the dot. Desired. So is 32 a good size? 32 is probably too big. We'll do 8x8. It's a cool size. We'll do another image for the cone. We'll go and quickly create a cone image in Photoshop. Control that. Let's go pixels. 128. God damn it. 128. There we go. Just make a quick cone image here. Whoa, it's not going to work. Do something like this. Gotta make sure that this cone is actually in the middle. That T_cone, port it. No. 2D. Put that in here. I'm going to what am I going to do here for this one? Well, the quickest way to fix this is just do something really nasty and just replace this with. Actually, no, let's replace this with a size box. The size box can be 8x8. And I think what I can do is say that this one's clipping. Clipping on demand, no, clipped bounds, advanced. Why are you not doing what I want you to do now? I'm just trying to make it not clip. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. That's not working, so let's just replace this with what I was going to do, which this is a disgusting way of doing this, but it is what we're going to do. Nope. Cool. just bring this into like a yellow cone that's like semi-transparent. Let's make sure that our cone, yeah, so this cone's facing that way, this cone is facing this way. Okay, so back in our radar, let's create a map. So it's a marker widget map. Turn this into a map. And what this does is it just says, why can't I change that? Right, so that's marker. This is marker widget, or what did I call it? Widget underscore enemy. So you look in here and you say, hey, find me this guy. And if you find it, then we're just going to update the position. Otherwise, if you don't find it, create a widget that's an enemy. And add it to this canvas. Add child. And then set position. And the position should just be this divided by the float, 256, sorry, I think. So it's like -1. Often, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Stream's going to be a little bit longer than I would like, but it's okay. Actually, promote this. Let's have a look. Promote this to a local variable L widget. So if we do find the widget, we'll cache it, and then what we can do is grab L widget canvas slot, and then just do this logic once. So that's all of this. The other thing to do is add this to the map. So we have the marker, and we have the well, it's L widget, right? Still got another marker reference, which is just for our debugs that we were doing earlier. That's fine. And I need to actually call that function because otherwise nothing will happen. Update markers. I've got a bunch of messages, so I was focusing. Turn the timer off because we're over time, and just for shame. Oh, we did do the player marker though, so that's cool. Okay, so live streams are amazing. I couldn't dream of making the map in Division. I've been researching for days in many languages, but I haven't found anyone as knowledgeable about UI development within Unreal as you. I can't thank you enough. Yeah, awesome, dude. I mean, I've done it for a long time, so I mean, I always think that I'm only just scratching the surface, to be honest. It's imposter syndrome. So, but yeah, I do know a lot about it, and I guess this actually is a bit therapeutic for me because I get to do things in a short scale of time and kind of prove to myself that I do know this tool. And produce cool looking things at the other end, hopefully, is the main idea. Always get better. Be curious. Always get better. Okay, so that's actually just pushed a thing off the canvas. So when the item was outside the canvas, it just pushed the item away from the canvas, because it would do that, because that is how that works. And also they're in the wrong place, so there's that as well. Let's make sure that all of this is set to clip properly, because I did play with that earlier. Which of course they aren't. So let's make sure that this canvas is clipped. Just clip it. Right. No. Clip. Thank you. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, of course you're going to do that now, aren't you? Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because of the way I've done it. Place it with a vertical box, I guess. That is not 128. Okay, so just go desired, center. Okay, now that's our view cone item. Which means when I set the position, I need to set it. When I create the widget, I need to control its initial alignment, which its alignment in the canvas panel needs to be 0.51, I believe. We'll rotate it later, but basically that just ensures something. Why are you clipping in such a weird way? Okay. Another thing that I can do is for this entire widget is wrap it with a size box to make sure it never actually goes over the desired scale. And then it's just about getting these to actually draw where I wanted them to draw. Canvas panel. You are if I clamp this between -1 and 1, it does actually draw it on the edge. Should be 2 of them as well. But I'm only seeing 1 of them. I'm not translating this properly still. I've got to think about this for a sec. We're getting the icon or the marker or the character or whatever it is, its distance from my character who is rendered at the center of the geometry. So we need to start our translation from the center of the geometry, which is this 2x2 unit here. And in fact, if we just draw everything at that center unit just to make sure, we of course get something that doesn't align from the bottom of the widget, which is what we hoped. The idea was we would get a dot that draws right here upwards, because we told it in the registry, or sorry, I guess it's in the update, to have an alignment of 50% to the right and 100% to the bottom. Which, if we open that widget underscore enemy, should be here. Then it should just push it up to where we want it. I guess one thing we might need to do is set auto size as well. So we could try that too. There we go. So that's cool. I'm going to shrink this down. Yeah, so that's cool. So now we just need to draw it offset into the correct location. So we would add a number of units that should be this divided. It should be this multiplied by 256, to be fair. Although what you could do is you could say multiply it by the local size. In fact, let's break and make a 2D vector and then multiply that. Can you please be a vector 2? We'll try this. Oh. Okay, so it's inverted by the looks. It like just doesn't want to be where it actually is. What the heck? This is so annoying. Okay. Up and down is left and right and left is up and down. Okay, sure. Let's try that then. No? Okay. So if I go this way, guess, okay. So -1 on the Y. And -1 on here as well. Tell you what, maybe I'll just multiply this by -1. This pin. Why didn't you like that? Oh, right. It's like it's double. Oh, so maybe it needs to be this divided by 2. Okay, there we go. So now we have our little dude. Sure. And then in the other top corner, we're going to have our other guy. And so that stream was a little bit longer than I wanted, but basic Soliton Radar, and obviously if those elements move, they should move. Another thing that we could do is set render angle. I guess we would do it on the L widget. So set render angle, and it would be the actor's rotation. So get actor rotation. Split this. Just take this yaw. That one's correct. The other one should just be facing downwards. Yeah. But it's not rotating from its pivot. Why? Set pivot. That's kind of annoying. Set the widget's pivot. See if that works. Yeah, sweet. So, it's a little bit further down than I would have expected. I suppose he is 1 meter down. Okay. So that's a Soliton Radar. There's a little bit of compromise, a little bit of faffing. I would obviously not. If I had more time, I wouldn't do a lot of the things that I just did. I feel dirty. A great example of doing a lesson or a tutorial where it's like, these are the options you have, these are the reasons why they're not great. For example, the reason why drawing a bunch of widgets. So at the moment what we're doing is we're adding an enemy widget to a canvas. For every marker that exists in the game. Secondly, we're drawing markers from this, we made that marker component, right? There's no manager for this marker component. So this marker talks directly to a radar. It's kind of a waste of details, basically. You have some information or a state of an actor of some kind, like an actor component that's on something, and you are then just talking directly to one thing. What you should really have is a manager where it talks to that manager. That becomes your like observer and listens to all those markers. Thirdly, I guess if you're in a replicating environment, you've got to think about this a little bit differently, because those actors aren't going to exist on a client, so you'll need some sort of proxy controller. But we're not worrying about multiplayer on this one because it's Metal Gear Solid is a single player game, so we didn't go into the realms of replication, which is fine. Creating a widget for every single one of these again is like, it's great, it gives you a ton of control, but when it comes to like performance, if you have 100 things in your game, you're going to start to notice that you're suffering from some performance issues, because every single one of those is moving around on that canvas and updating a couple of grids, basically, that slate controls. So like a hit test grid, a paint grid, is my understanding, as far as I know. That's basically the issue. Are you planning to do the alert scramble? True, yeah, that bit where they see you and then it just like shrinks into something. I mean, we're already over time, so why not? We'll just do something really simple with a trigger volume to trigger that. Yeah, so other things I would do differently, or would want to try and do differently, is I would rather draw those elements to the UI through like a material or something. Sorry, 1 second. Ooh. Ooh. Yuck. I don't have tissues. That's awesome. Luckily it was a dry sneeze. So, view frustrums. Yeah, sweet. So we want to add the alert state, because that'd be funny. Yeah, there is a UI material lab that shows you like a map that has like elements drawn, not through independent widgets, because they don't always need to be, but if you want to hit test on them and you want to click on them and you want to do like a full map like that, like you can draw those widgets. And I'll probably do an episode on actually doing a proper map. I might do that tomorrow. where I create the marker component, the marker registry, I draw it to a map, maybe even draw it to a compass, maybe even draw it to the screen. I won't go too crazy. I'll probably do those 3 different episodes. But I could do a map. I've done a lot of maps in my lifetime, so it's been like 10 years in industry, and I've done like a map on every game I've been on. So, and we'll go with the typical like do a widget approach, and don't update the ones that are outside of our point of view, so that we're saving on some bits. Let's get this trigger volume working. I'm just going to do this straight in the level blueprint. I'm not going to worry about this too much. So we're just doing this for a little bit of fun. The way I'm going to, this isn't a great way of doing this, but all widgets of class. Let's get the radar. So again, the way I might have done this is I'd have an actor, or I'd actually have like a state. How would I do it? Because you're going to be able to get caught by cameras, caught by enemies, you know, just caught by various things. So I think on the game state, I would hold like an alert state, and it would be an enum for like caution, alerted, jamming, like all those different states that like the world state can be in. Because it's not just your radar that reacts to that state, it's the AI, it's the music, it's like so many things. And so you'd want some kind of component to hold that data, so that anyone can go and say like, oh, if I just I'm going to make a new audio system, just get the game states component for the world state or for the alert state component and listen to that. That's how I would usually do this. But right now what we're going to do is we're just going to go and grab the one thing that we have, which is this widget, and then we're going to set a state on here. So functions, set state. In fact, we only have alert state, so set alert state. Let's just go for this. Let's add an input, which is just like alerted. And so that's our core feature. So let's just set alert state to true when we hover over that box, which again, if this is actual AI, they have perception. They have a perception component. They can trigger things off of actually seeing or hearing. I'd love to remake Metal Gear Solid, to be honest. Like, just as a project, it's just like homage to Metal Gear Solid. I could definitely. I've learned enough at this point that I could make that game. Apart from the story, I couldn't do the story. Got to be a special kind of person to make that story. You got to be a pretty creative guy to come up with like dudes made of bees and people who breathe through their boobs or whatever it is that Quiet does. It's just like she breathes through her skin or something, and so she can't wear many clothes. It's contextualized. Hover this, set alert state. I'm gonna set a timer to just undo this. Actually, just custom event, end alert state, delay 5 seconds, set alert state back to false. So if alert state is false, we're just going to do something. If alert state is true, we're going to end alert state. Or I should call this like delay end alert state. Again, this is not a great function, but it's prototyping. So, and then we're going to do some stuff with the UI. So here we have a size box. That's fun to play with. We could shrink this down. So we might want to do that. We're going to want a widget switcher for sure, because we're going to have a second widget state. Oh, what did I just do? Wrap with a widget switcher. We'll call this overlay radar, and then we'll do, let's go take a look at our reference images. In fact, I've lost all my reference images, so let's just go find Metal Gear Solid alert radar. Images. Yeah, I've got a pretty general idea of what it's gonna look like, which is sort of like a vertical box, which is just like alert state. In fact, let's change that. Replace that with an overlay. And so now I can just put various things in here. First off, we'll take a border. Actually, probably just wrap this whole box with a border. Let's get some text in there because we don't actually have the word alert yet. So we'll just go alert. And then we'll set that to like droid mono. What do we do? Like red. Kind of jank. Looks sufficiently horrible. Import a font when you do this. don't do as I do. We've got our alert. Let's get another border. Red. It just says radar offline. In some color, like so. And then, so that'll be our alert state. It looks horrible, but it. The other thing as well is like maybe make this text occupy the right amount of space, like minimum desired width. I know that the radar is 256 units wide, so I'm just going to make this do that. And then looks like this border might have some padding somewhere. Like there's definitely some padding somewhere. There it is. Cool. So we got this alert. Obviously, when we're in alert state, we should probably have an alert animation. And so for that, let's just flash the text. So I'll stick a keyframe on there and then just like move it. Maybe we'll just sort of go a little bit pink and then back again, which I'll just copy the original color. And then if I click this button, it will loop it so I can see it like, it's not very fast. So we'll just make it shorter. So that's cool. And so now that we have that, we have this widget switcher state. We could have multiple states in there. And we could, instead of going to alerted, we could use an int or an enum to control that. So set index in this case. Set active widget index to 1. Whoop, 1. And then also play that animation. So play animation. What is it called? Alert anim. And just play it like infinite times. And then when we're done, we'll just stop that animation. And, and set this to 0. Now, the thing about this delay anim that's bad is if I get alert and then I stop alert through this delay, but then I got alerted in the meantime, this delay is still going to complete. So what you can do to solve that, set timer event instead, create an event, which is your delayed bit. And now you have this output pin, which is a handle basically. So this is, I don't know, neutral state timer or something. So every time this function recalls to be in the alert state now, this timer resets basically. And so now because it's also a timer, I can just say 3 seconds until the alert goes away. And I don't need to do this, and I just need to go end alert state. Or you could call it something else if you have multiple states, like go to this state, go to that state. So that solves a little bit of a problem there. Just like little conditions that are running like subroutines are just running in the background and then screw you over sometimes. So that's all that. We probably want to go to like freesound.org and like find a cool sound. Freesound.org. And then we'll grab like an alert sound that's Creative Commons 0.
Hey, look, a new subscriber.
That probably shouldn't be the sound, but it's pretty funny.
Look, a new subscriber.
Yeah, this one? No, that's not the right sound. Maybe if I just type like swing. No, with a H. Swing. I mean, I got what I asked for. I got what I asked for. Alert sound. Oh, look at this. Is this Creative Commons? Yeah, we'll take this one. Gotta log in. Ta. Ta is British for thank you. So that'll go into the downloads. Grab that. So that's cool. Play sound 2D, I guess. Pop that in. Just play it once. And then like maybe we could even have some more fun. I think we should be like alert music. So Creative Commons. Alert soundtrack. That's terrible. Also terrible. I apologize. We're not going to carry on with that. So we get the alert swing. So it should be the case that I just walk into that thing and all that stuff happens. Oh god. And then it goes back away. And you could animate more of that. You could like, gosh, what could you do? You could animate the scaling. You could do some color shifts. Like you could do it a lot neater than that. Yeah, got what you asked for. Alert. It's an alert state. Can't argue with that. It's also lunchtime. Stream went on for a lot longer than I wanted, but I think we got, we got a little thing in here. One thing that I might do is just for fun, just for fun, just more fun. You're not having fun? I'm gonna add a rotator to this guy. Rotating movement, and then so this guy's just gonna rotate in a circle. So his rotation rate is 180. That's cool. But he's just patrolling. And what I could do is duplicate this, go into our level again, add an event for active begin overlap, and do this again. But this time what I'll do is I'll attach this to our enemy. It's that guy over there. Move it over there. Do this. And I'll make him turn a lot slower because he was turning really fast. So we'll just say like 45 units. So he's turning. I could stand right here and he can't see me until he like gets within my range. And also because he's got a cone, I should probably just rotate this by 45 degrees to turn it into a cone. Huh, that's not working very well. 45. Yeah, so you could do that. And then now that's technically a cone. I'd argue that's a cone now. You can also actually do a cone. I did a stream. Yeah, so that worked. I did a stream of a games jam that has cameras, and I do a really cool, like, it's just an actual cone based implementation of vision in that, and also have an AI that chases you and stuff. So and he has perception, and I was going to add sound. So something like that anyway. Little basic thing. Right, okay, that's me for the day. I'm gonna go and take a break. I'm doing half days right now, so I don't stream in the afternoons or prepare any additional content like shorts or other videos. So And the reason for that is because on Friday this week, I'm going to be doing a games jam, and I don't want to be spent by the time I get there. Friday, Saturday, I'll be streaming on this channel, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be the Kenny Jam. You have to use the Kenny assets, and if you don't know what the Kenny assets are, they're a bunch of free assets that you can get made by an artist or team. Also, K art or K assets or something. It's like a team up of artists doing it. But yeah, Kenny assets have been around since I was at university, so as long as I have been in the industry, for sure, or been working on games, and so they make great assets. It's basically the point, and so you get to make a game with any of their assets, and that's the games jam. I don't know what the theme's going to be. Obviously, it's kind of the point. And we'll have some fun. We'll do that. We'll have some fun. So yeah, if you want to see that, tune in on Friday. Tomorrow I might change gear and not do a UI. I might do some gameplay scripting of some description, or I might just work on the game that we did during the last games jam and actually get that a little bit further along, because right now it is not very far along at all. Okay. I feel like the best thing I can do here though is do UI. So as it's a UI channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, let us know what you want to see, and I will make sure that it is noted down and planned. Cheers. Have a good one.